You asked, I'm going to deliver 5 things I wish I knew when I started playing the bass. Let's get into it. All right, thanks for checking out this video this week. Let's jump right into it. Here's my list. Number 1, listen and imitate. Listen to as much music as you can, and listen specifically for the bass line or the instrument that's fulfilling the role of the bass. Listen how it interacts with other instruments. Listen how it focuses with the drums. Listen how the rhythm is carried, how the groove feels, how it makes you feel, and then imitate it. Anyone who plays an instrument has a list of musicians that inspire them. There's gonna be a list. You've got a list. You know who you like to, how you like to listen to. You know who really got you interested in whatever it is you're interested in. Listen to the records. That's what you like. Listen to it. Try and imitate it. Definitely try it. Figure it out. See what it's about. Number 2, experiment. So now all this listening and imitation that you've got going on, you need to actually try and expand on it. So when you're imitating these different artists, these different songs, you need to start taking the pieces that you're learning from those imitations and try and expand on it. See if you can do something new with it. I think one of the best stories or examples I can give you is again, Victor Wooten. All the harmonic things that he does, and with Amazing Grace and all those different things where he's going through with the harmonics, he actually said in an interview that he got all of that from Portrait of Tracy, Jaco Pastorius. He learned that song, he listened to it on repeat, on a record, over and over again, until he figured out how to do all the different harmonic things that Jaco was doing. And then he took that and he ran with it. He expanded on it. He kind of made it bigger than it was. Just the one song led to so many different things that he was able to do with it. So don't be afraid to play with these techniques. Don't be afraid to experiment with them. See what works, see what doesn't work. Figure out why it doesn't work if it doesn't. Figure out why it works if it does. Experiment. It's all about learning. Number 3, scales. Scales. They're boring. I know they're boring. I got a whole scale manual, but here's why. That gives you the vocabulary to speak the language of music. You can actually interact with other musicians when you understand scales, understand chords, understand how the melody and the harmony flows together. Learning the scales and learning all of the various scales, your major scales, your minor scales, your pentatonic scales, your 6 scales, your 7 scales, your jazz scales, your blues scales, learn all of them. And what you'll start to find is that every scale kind of relates to a particular type or style of music. There are some styles of music that rely heavily on the blues scale, while others will rely heavily on the major scale or a minor scale. And when you learn these scales, you open yourself up to so much more musically than you can imagine. So even though they seem kind of boring, they seem kind of blah, if you really dig into music and really start to understand it, you're gonna hear scales everywhere. And you'll really start to understand even those 4-chord songs, where those 4 chords actually come from. Number 4, practice. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. In another video, I talked about how you can make practicing easy by keeping your bass or your instrument just out and available, just in the way. You need to practice all the time. You need to practice anytime. You need to practice every time. Annoy the neighbors, just keep practicing. You need to get to the point where you can just pick up and flow, because that's how you're gonna learn. That's how you're gonna grow. If you think about it, you didn't just talk only in short bursts, 10 minutes a day, maybe. That's not how you learn how to talk. That's not how you're gonna learn music either. You need to be willing to put in the time and actually learn and grow and practice. And number 5, I'm gonna say this, don't be focused on the gear. It's so easy to get caught up on the gear and having the best whatever, the best bass, the best pedal, the best amp, all these different things. And in the long run, it doesn't really even matter when you start. Basically, you need to just get I would say the minimum requirement is to find a bass that you can play comfortably that feels fun to play. Basically, if you enjoy this instrument, you're more willing to pick it up and do a little bit of a number 4, which is practice. I don't know if I said practice enough. Man, I said again, practice. But don't be super focused on the gear. My best recommendation, even though I have several basses, is to work with the bass that you choose to start with until you get to a point where you absolutely can't go any further. The interesting thing is sometimes we'll talk ourselves into needing new gear, or if only I had a 6-string I could play. Well, can you play all the stuff you can do with the 4-string yet? No. I would pick up an instrument, or I would tell myself to pick up an instrument and play with it until it can no longer fulfill what I needed to do, and then look for the next one. Because 2 things will happen. 1, you'll be really good with this instrument, you'll master it, and 2, you'll know exactly what you're looking for when you're ready to change. To recap, number 1, listen and imitate. 2, experiment. 3, learn your scales all day, every day. 4, practice all day, every day. And 5, don't worry about the gear when you're starting. This has been by request. I'm glad to do it. I can expand on any of these different things. I like doing these kind of videos. Let's do all the YouTube things: like, comment, share, subscribe. You don't have to ring the bell. Ring the bell if you want to ring the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Practice, 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 practice.